Greetings, viewers! Welcome to an in-depth exploration of the book of Leviticus from the King James Bible. I'm your guide on this journey of discovery, and today we'll unravel the intricacies of this often misunderstood biblical book. Leviticus, the third book of the Bible, is a treasure trove of sacred laws and rituals that shape the lives and practices of the ancient Israelites. It may seem complex and overwhelming at first, but fear not. We'll dissect the text, reveal its symbolic meanings, and explore its historical context. We'll delve into the rituals, the priestly duties, the cleansing and atonement practices, and of course, the holiness code. And we'll not just leave it in the past. We'll also discuss how Leviticus resonates in our world today. So if you're keen on biblical deep dives, make sure to subscribe. Now let's embark on this 10-minute journey through Leviticus together. Leviticus, with its 27 chapters, serves as a guidebook for the ancient Israelites, detailing laws and rituals essential for maintaining purity and holiness. This third book of the Bible, nestled between Exodus and Numbers, offers a fascinating glimpse into the religious life and cultural norms of the Israelites during their journey to the Promised Land. Now let's set the scene. Picture a fledgling nation, fresh from the bondage of Egypt, yearning for a unique identity and a structured society. They needed a code, a set of laws to govern not only their relationship with each other, but also their relationship with the divine. Enter Leviticus, a comprehensive manual of sacred laws and rituals. But Leviticus isn't just a rule book. It's a testament to the Israelites' quest for holiness, their drive to distinguish themselves from the surrounding nations through a strict code of moral, ethical, and religious conduct. It's about establishing a holy nation, a kingdom of priests, if you will. This pursuit of purity and sanctity was reflected in every facet of their lives, from their dietary habits to their clothing, from their social interactions to their worship practices. Leviticus was the blueprint, guiding them towards a life of reverence, respect, and righteousness. Leviticus also serves as a bridge, connecting the narrative arcs of Exodus and Numbers. It provides the theological underpinning necessary to understand the Israelites' journey, their trials and tribulations, their victories and defeats. It's the lens through which we can better appreciate their struggle for identity and purpose amidst the wilderness of uncertainty and change. So, as we delve into Leviticus, we're not just exploring ancient laws and outdated rituals, we're journeying into the heart of a civilization, understanding their worldview, their hopes, their fears, and their aspirations. We're decoding a sacred guidebook that shaped a nation and continues to influence religious thought and practice to this day. Join me as we dive into the historical context and significance of Leviticus in shaping religious practices. Explore the elaborate rituals and sacrifices outlined in Leviticus, focusing on the roles and responsibilities of the priests. Leviticus is rich with descriptions of various offerings, each with a unique purpose and symbolism. Let's begin with the burnt offering, the oldest and most common form of sacrifice. This was a voluntary act of worship, expressing devotion, commitment, and complete surrender to God. It involved the offering of a male animal without blemish, symbolizing the flawless nature of the offering. The entire animal, save for its hide, was burnt on the altar, signifying the total consumption of the self in devotion to the divine. Next, we have the grain offering, a gift to God of the first fruits of the harvest. This was an act of thanksgiving, acknowledging God's providence and abundance. The grain was often prepared as fine flour, unleavened bread, or roasted grain, and was always accompanied by frankincense, a symbol of divine pleasure. The peace offering, another voluntary act, was unique as it was a communal meal shared between God, the priest, and the offerer. It signified fellowship and peace with God, and was often offered in thanksgiving or in fulfillment of a vow. The sin and guilt offerings were mandatory sacrifices for unintentional sins or breaches of trust. The sin offering atoned for the individual sin and purified the sanctuary, while the guilt offering sought to make reparations for the wrong done, symbolizing the principle of restitution. The priests played a crucial role in these rituals. They acted as intermediaries between the people and God, performing the sacrifices and ensuring the correct procedures were followed. They were responsible for maintaining the sanctity of the rituals, demonstrating the importance of their role in connecting the community with the divine. From burnt offerings to sin offerings, each ritual carries profound symbolic meaning, reflecting the Israelites' relationship with the divine. These rituals underscore the principles of devotion, thanksgiving, fellowship, atonement, and restitution, providing a window into the spiritual life of the ancient Israelites. Discover the rituals of cleansing and atonement prescribed in Leviticus. These practices, deeply embedded in the cultural and spiritual fabric of the ancient Israelites, offer us a window into their profound reverence for purity and holiness. At the heart of these rituals lies the concept of atonement, a spiritual reset, if you will, that allowed the Israelites to reconcile with God after transgressions. This was not simply about correcting wrongs, but it was a complex process of self-reflection, repentance, and a sincere desire to realign with the divine. Take, for instance, the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur. This was the holiest day of the year for the Israelites, a day of fasting and prayer, a day when the high priest would enter the most holy place, the innermost sanctum of the tabernacle, to make atonement for the sins of the people. The ritual of cleansing was another vital part of maintaining spiritual purity. Leviticus prescribes a variety of cleansing rituals, from those for lepers to those for women after childbirth. These were not just about physical cleanliness, but they symbolized a spiritual renewal, a restoration of the individual's relationship with God and the community. What's significant here is the emphasis on moral and ethical conduct. Atonement and cleansing were not just about performing rituals, they were about a sincere change of heart and behavior. They were about acknowledging one's mistakes, making amends, and striving to live a life in accordance with God's laws. In Leviticus, we see a beautiful interplay of the divine and the human, the sacred and the mundane. The rituals of cleansing and atonement are not just about absolution, they are about transformation, about striving for a higher moral and spiritual plane. These practices served as a means of restoring spiritual purity and reconciling with God, emphasizing the importance of moral and ethical conduct. Leviticus unveils the Holiness Code, outlining ethical principles that guided the Israelites' daily lives. This code, set out in chapters 17 to 26, is a comprehensive guide to moral and ethical living, as seen through the lens of the ancient Israelites. It covers a broad range of topics, from the prohibition of certain foods to the commandment of loving one's neighbor as oneself. The Holiness Code is not merely a list of do's and don'ts. Rather, it's a blueprint for holiness, setting forth the standards expected of God's chosen people. It's a call for the Israelites to be distinct, to set themselves apart through their behavior and their adherence to God's laws. Take, for instance, the rules concerning diet. These laws were not arbitrary restrictions, but were instead symbolic of the Israelites' separation from other nations. By adhering to these dietary laws, the Israelites demonstrated their commitment to God, their willingness to be set apart, and their desire to live in holiness. The Holiness Code also addresses interpersonal relations. It instructs the Israelites to love their neighbors as themselves, to ensure justice for the poor and vulnerable, and to uphold honesty in their dealings with one another. These laws reflect the high ethical standards expected of God's people and underscore the importance of treating others with kindness, respect, and fairness. In the Holiness Code, we see a blend of ritual and ethical laws, reflecting the Israelites' understanding that true holiness involves both right worship and right conduct. It's a holistic approach to morality, where love for God is expressed not only through rituals and sacrifices, but also through ethical treatment of others. The Holiness Code is an ancient moral framework, yet its principles continue to resonate today. It challenges us to consider our own standards of conduct, to reflect on how we treat others, and to contemplate what it truly means to live a life of holiness. Join me in dissecting these laws, offering a unique insight into ancient moral frameworks. As we conclude, we'll discuss the enduring relevance of Leviticus in our modern context. The sacred laws and rituals detailed in Leviticus may seem distant and antiquated, yet they have shaped the moral and ethical landscape we navigate today. Leviticus's teachings on purity, not just physical but also moral and spiritual, remind us of the importance of integrity in all our dealings. Its emphasis on ethical conduct, respect for others, and reverence for the divine continue to be fundamental pillars in many of today's religions and philosophies. Moreover, the book's rituals and sacrifices, while not practiced in their original form, have evolved and found expressions in various ways. We see echoes in our personal rituals of self-improvement and atonement, in our pursuit of ethical living, and in our collective efforts to foster a more compassionate and just society. Its teachings on purity, ethics, and reverence continue to inspire ethical discussions and religious practices today. Thank you for joining me on this 10-minute exploration of Leviticus. We've journeyed together through the sacred laws, the rituals, the priestly duties, and the profound symbolism found in this unique book of the Bible. It's been an enlightening voyage, hasn't it? If you found this in-depth look at Leviticus valuable, I invite you to show your appreciation by hitting the like button. It's a small action, but it goes a long way in spreading the word about these insightful biblical explorations. If you have thoughts or insights you'd like to share, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. I always look forward to engaging with your perspectives. And if you haven't done so already, do consider subscribing. This way you won't miss out on future deep dives into the fascinating world of the Bible. I'm encouraging you to continue exploring the wisdom within the pages of the King James Bible. Until next time, stay curious and stay enlightened.